Blog Talk Radio.
We welcome the night.
Oasis, a radio show where we discuss all the latest movies and news from the world of horror. Joining me tonight, as always, is my co-host Ian. Ian, are you there?
No.
Listen.
Not at all.
I'm glad this is over. This has been the most difficult marathon we've done in a while. and that's no fault but our own for picking these. It's just like everything was just like, you know what? Fuck you this month, and here you go. and that's it. And honestly, thank God it is over. This year's Halloween Grab Bag Marathon. You know, there's another Halloween Jack that's on Tubi. It's not even the curse or legend of Halloween Jack. It's just like called Halloween Jack. It's like an hour long. Like, I have no idea. We should have watched that. Just randomly to do something because honestly, this marathon, my brain is fucking dead.
Yeah,
I'm like one of the freaking pumpkin zombies in this film, was just going around like, please, I don't want to watch any more horror Halloween movies. Fuck you. Here's a pumpkin on your head. You're going to have to deal with it.
Oh, my God. That was a movie.
Well,
that was.
We better get into this. This is the listener, again, it's the listener's choice pick, and the film that won is Jack versus Lanterns. The thing is, I've seen another film by this director, and it was one that I've been wanting to see. I was trying to find. It was one of those that's just so difficult, and then finally one showed up on Amazon listing, and I bought it. And I'll say this, that film, it's called All Wrapped Up, and it's like an anthology with, like, mummies, sort of. And I'll say that the director for, again, that film in general, he's ambitious without a budget, because he's like doing all these these big elaborate things that he wants to do, but he doesn't have the means for it. And that was like 2007, 2008 when that movie came out, and I could understand the way that it looked. This is 2017 apparently when this came out. I don't know about physical, but 2017. He has not upgraded. He has not done any sort of, to help further his progress as a director. He is still going the cheap route. And again, no issues there. But when you have, again, ambition and a project that you don't have the budget for, making a fucking almost 2-hour long movie, and again, all wrapped up was 2 hours long. But there's like no progress as a director from that one in 2006, 2007 to this one like almost 10 years later. And I don't know. I mean, that one's a little bit better than this one. I mean, this one, it's just, again, there's like a lot of plot to this film. And like, here we are saying, oh, that you guys talked about not having plot and not Scream on the Beach and this and that. Like, yeah, but at least that movie was just, you know, kind of dull. This one is like, it's I don't know. My brain hurts, and it's hard to think. I mean, there's, like I said, he's ambitious, and I'll give him that, but it doesn't work for his means of what he wants to portray, because all he does is use green screen constantly. And this was, when I was watching this, was reminding me of like a Ted V. McKell's Astro Zombies movie, one of the later ones, like Astro Zombies 4, where it's just like fucking crazy. A lot of explosions, and like when Ted V. Michaels started using computer effects, that really, oh boy. But yeah, there's some bad decisions in that film. If you watch the later Astro Zombie films, but I don't even really want to get into this. I'd much rather just talk about random things besides this film. But here we are, Jack versus Lantern. Let's see if I can remember all the plots in this film. So I'm just going to go off by what I can recall. Jack, I think, somebody is doing something in this pumpkin patch. It's like a mutated strand that they've been working on, and it does something to this guy that's digging around in this place, and he becomes this mutated pumpkin monster, which the mask is definitely bought from a Spirit Halloween. It's one of those, animal, again, like creature face where you like to move your mouth and like the jaw opens up and the eyes widen. So it's definitely a store-bought mask, and a few other ones as well. And there's also, so he becomes that, and he goes after people, and he manifests a pumpkin out of nowhere, and it's a big giant pumpkin, papier-mâché pumpkin, and he places it on people's heads, and then they turn into pumpkin zombies, which is actually a short film called Pumpkin Zombies, and it's probably 10 times better than this. So that's how the creature comes to effect. Then there's this other subplot with this wife, because I think it's the husband of the wife who turned into the monster, and so now she's like working for this corporation conglomerate, and they're able to clone her husband because she wants her husband dead so she can inherit stuff, and they need to have a public execution or something happen to her husband where it doesn't come back on her to inherit everything. And so she's going through the process of cloning her husband. One is too sophisticated, and then all right, we need to dial it back some, and then they made another clone where he's juvenile, in a sense, where he's talking about boobies, and he basically reverting back to a teenager in a sense, a few days past puberty, and so she's trying to get him killed, and that's that subplot. Then we have the entitled character Jack, where I have no idea who he is. He's just some random guy that they call upon, and this shit's going down or something's happening. Okay, I'll do it. He's somehow pulling up a Jeep out of the middle of something. I don't know. It's just a lot of nonsense. And then there is a lot of nonsense in this film, and it just doesn't really it's just like, okay, where's this going? Where's this going? It's just like a lot of plot for no reason. It's just excessive. And, like, it's not interesting either. It's just, like, just nothing. And, like, I know what he's trying to do. I mean, he, like I said, very ambitious. But just, like, everything just, like, it's like a fucking stew. It just, like, stirs around. You're just adding all this stuff in there. It's just, like, after a while, it just gets it gets crowded. And, like, well, the water, the broth is seeping over the pot now, and now, like, everything else, just, like, it's a mess. And it's just, like, I don't know. It's an hour and 45 minutes of stuff. And, like, the pumpkin people are going around. They're making more zombie pumpkins, and it's just, like, nope. Brain's shutting down, and it's just that's what this film did. It's just like my brain said, nope, you've been through hell this month, and it's like you don't need to recall any information. And again, that's not. I don't know if that's my fault for not, because I paid attention to this damn thing, but it's just like my brain did not retain any information that it was receiving. So it was sort of. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard to figure this one out, because like I know what the director's trying to do, because that's his style, that's his MO, because I've seen All Wrapped Up, and like again, there's like a lot of green screen effects. Like there's like they couldn't even afford, like there's a scene with like a tent in a backyard, right? And it's supposed to be this carnival fair thing, and instead of just like having the scene in front of a tent like they did a few times before, they green screened it, and it's just like it's out of place, because like the characters are bigger than the taller than the green screen and what they have on the back, and it's just like it's weird. There's like other parts. Yeah. There's more plots to this, and I'm just like I'm trying to figure it out. And then like there's this big whole showdown at the end with the main pumpkin person. Monster, and he grows tall, and that's what he did in All Wrapped Up too. Like there's a big giant stop motion robot in that film, and I don't know. This movie literally drained the life out of me, and like all the rest of them did. So Ian, hopefully we can get through this one. What's some thoughts before we go back and forth?
All right. Well, like you said, this movie was just a mess, and like the jokes that they were trying to pull were just like, it just felt too forced. Like they were just trying to force jokes, and it like I don't know, it just didn't come. Like they just fell flat. And I mean, I don't give a shit about green screens and stuff like that. Like, we watched Fisted. That had a lot of green screens in it. And it's sadly, I think it had more of a cohesive plot. And I actually retained more of that movie watching it once. Years ago. Yeah. But and that's the thing, like, it's not like how the movie was made. It was just, like you said, just too much stuff crammed all into one little thing. An hour and 45 minutes for just, and everything just happens. Like nothing, just if nothing felt like it had a reason, it just happened because.
Yeah, there's no cohesive unit to anything. I mean, the storylines and plots just were all over the place, and like, oh, we needed to kill my husband. Oh, well, we need to do it in a public place. Well, fuck that. Here, I'm just going to kill him. And then like, God, I don't know. It's just like there's too much to really just like hone in on to try to wrap your mind around everything. It's
once
like
you
all
start
in your face.
once you start getting like, okay, this is happening, and then boom, another thing, like the waitress having a rash, and then the scientist lady,
doing her experiments
and screaming every 5 seconds. And then tripping and falling.
And then Jack being put on house arrest because apparently he killed someone.
And that was green screen.
Yeah. And like, did he get in house arrest because he killed the shooter at the fair, or was he someone else? Like, it didn't make sense. Like, was that it? Like, he was there fine at the sheriff's office, and then like the next thing, you're gonna be put on house arrest, and it was like the most cheap-looking unit on it. It was just like paper. It's like elementary school. Okay, we're gonna make little cutouts, and it just looked like a freaking little cutout.
I think I will remember the shooter the most out of this movie. Killed me, because it's like, I'm here because I'm shooting because I hate pumpkins. Yeah.
And like, he shoots all over the place. Like I guess he was supposed to kill the husband, but he missed. I don't know. And then Jack threw an axe at his head and then killed him. And then, all right.
And that was
we need to get the dinosaur.
Real-looking axe.
Yeah.
That was definitely a realistic-looking axe, definitely not like a paper cutout.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I mean, it like, I don't even know, like, because this is like something that honestly, I feel like this movie should have been funny. Like,
it
for how it was.
It should have had some kind of energy to it. Again, like, it's an outlandish idea, and don't get me wrong, like, the Killer Pumpkins, we saw that in Tales of Halloween. It's probably one of the better segments from that anthology, and, like, that was fun for what it was. But this one is, like, I mean, even Pumpkins, the one with that was like a sort of a mess, but, like, that sort of had Killer Pumpkins in a sense, and a dead person coming back to life with a pumpkin head. But that one was like, at least it tried. I mean, it was kind of, it folded in on itself in a few places as it went along, but it was definitely more cohesive, film, and you could understand it minus, filming problems. But this one is just like, again, for the budget, for what he's trying to achieve, it's just too much. And
yeah,
it's just like you needed to come back, pull things back, chop it down a little bit, because there's stuff in there that was like really unnecessary and didn't need to be there. You just needed to, yeah, exactly. Like, your Halloween dance is great. It keeps them in a trance. Do it. And it's like, what the fuck's going on? It's like, that seems like something out of Fisted too, where it's just like so out there in left field, But it's just like, it was just so something. And
yeah,
it really, like, again, it should have been this like stupid tongue in cheek, and I mean, technically it is kind of tongue in cheek, but I don't think it was really that way. I think it's like, all right, we're just gonna do this and like try, and it just turned out the way it did. And I don't know. I mean, it's definitely a film we watched, and
yeah,
I don't know if it's the worst thing it's not the worst, but it's definitely not the best, and it's definitely on the lower end tier. Like, if we had to put this with all the other ones we've watched this month, I think it would be third. I think it's a tie with Ice Cream on the Beach. But this one's, again, like, I don't know where I'd put this. Like, it's definitely, I would put Double Trouble 1 and probably Haunting of the Murder House number 2, and then I don't know what I would do with the, Jack versus Lanterns and Ice Cream. It'd definitely be a tie, because I wouldn't know which one to put which, because at least, again, I don't know whether I was like, do I want to be bored and have a poop joke with killer socks, or do I want to be like bored long, because both of them were pretty long and didn't really like. But I guess I would put Jack versus Lanterns. I don't know, maybe because of just so much shit was going on screen, and then I don't know. But nonetheless, it was just it wasn't. I didn't really enjoy it. I mean, it just wasn't really that fun, and it should have been for what it's setting out to accomplish. But it just wasn't fun or interesting or enjoyable, and it's just you're sitting there just rubbing your head my God, I just want this to end. And it's just it was too much in a sense. It was he really put too much ambition, and again, I don't have anything against that. I don't congratulations. But sometimes it's just a little excessive, and this one felt that way, where it's just all right, I don't think I can eat another fucking candy or else I'm gonna throw up, and that's what this one felt like. Was okay, you're just pushing it, I don't know if I can eat the rest of this, and it just kept going and going, and again, I understand what he's trying to do and what he wanted to do, and but it was just too much, and it's just it was just unnecessary.
Yeah, I kind of just it was just goofy. It was they tried too hard. That was I think the main thing was they tried way too hard, and and we're here talking about other films that are similar in style, the green screens and all this, and hell, it should have been what they had, should have been condensed. Some of the parts, the unnecessary parts, the dancing thing was kind of funny, but at the same time, I was just that's, just a little, not an actual laugh. And it's just, and it fell flat with that part. And, when I first, the opening scene, I kind of was oh, this is, the guy with you could tell they glued a unibrow to his head. Mm-hmm. And I was oh, I got my toes. And then I was just is this I was I literally was said out loud, I really hope this, the rest of this movie isn't that try too hard to be funny. Because, and then I was oh, God damn it, it was. But, because I just feel I'm, harping on this movie a little too much, but at the same time,
it's not that we're harping on it, man. It's just for an idea like this, he really decided to go ways that shouldn't have went. Did we really need the cloning subplot? I mean, was that necessary to anything at all? Because it didn't really matter at the end of oh, I'm going to kill him anyway, and that's what you did. So that's half the fucking movie is her and the wife in these situations with her cloned husband and wanting him to die because she wants to inherit the company that also produced the strand, that the infected pumpkin seed strand, whatever's going on, and this pumpkin patch, and it didn't, it doesn't really add up because it just seems so out of the ordinary for this whole film. And then you have Jack doesn't really get introduced until 30, 40 minutes into the damn movie, and because I was thinking, is her husband Jack? Is that his name? No, it's this. His name's this. And then finally Jack gets introduced, and then his plot's going nowhere, and just it shouldn't be introduce these people and then give us a nothing plot for a filler, and then finally decide, oh, here's the pumpkin strand zombie shit going down, turning people into pumpkin zombies with bad Halloween masks on, and turning other people into mutated rash zombies. And it's that. Honestly, it just it was just too overly long and just needed to be cut down. And all these plots and subplots and characters and their subplots and what their situations. It was just like, again, too much. And it just like didn't really go nowhere to finally get to the big climactic battle at the end of it. It's just like it's like too late, you know. It's like, oh my God, my head's already, you know, like it's enough already. You know, it's just too much in your face, and it's just like it shouldn't have been that way. And for what it should have been, you know, we can say, oh, what if? But this one is like you really needed to cut down like only the crucial plots. And, you know, you can have a few, you can dabble here and there with your subplots and have your stuff, but, like, there's just, like, a lot of scenes that just, like, went on way too long. Yeah.
You know, like, I kind of was like, okay, maybe, like, you know, the clone husband, like, you know, had a bigger role than what he played. And they're like, nope, he died. I'm like, then what the fuck was the point in this? I literally was just like, what was even the point of having him? Like, because they made it seem a lot more important than what it turned out to be. And I get it. It was just supposed to be like, I don't know if it was trying to be a red herring or not. And maybe I was just too hopeful of a kind of a cohesive story that like would have turned this whole movie around. And it's just there was just some stuff that they could have just tweaked, and then, you know, it connected the stories a lot better. Like if they would have just kind of made it like a semi anthology where everything was kind of connected. It was all one long cohesive story. And some of the jokes, just cut a couple of the jokes out and then tweak the jokes a little bit. And I think this would have been a much, much better film. Like, just because all the elements were there. You know, green screen it all you want. I don't give a shit. You know, we watched a movie where it was a giant fucking Easter bunny monster. So, like, you know...
No, see, I was thinking, like, another thing that popped into my head was, like, Killer Rack. You know, like, how that one's, like, there's all these subplots in that, but that one's actually fun, and it has, like, you know, the boob, you know, the creature at the end of it, too. And, like, this one has, like, the, you know, the pumpkin creature with the vines and everything coming into play. And it's, like that one's, like, it knew what it was, you know, Killer Rack, and it was a little bit long, too. But it was, like, fun at least and enjoyable. I mean, this one just, like, you know, this had, like, this one was just, like, again, that one wasn't too much in your face, you know? Like, that one was just, like, you were having fun. You were along with the joke. And this one was, like, there was no joke to go along with. Like, this is, like, I don't know, a 50-year-old, you know, 80-year-old man trying to watch, like, a teenage rom-com. I don't know. Like no, it doesn't work for my generation, and I don't know. It's
exactly.
Just, like,
you
two
know,
different, you know.
And going back to the Killer Rack, you know, like the comedy style was almost the same. Like just out there, like even like in the beginning of the Killer Rack where they had the nurses and like all the weird little props and everything looked super like cheesy and like, oh yeah, you definitely got this from like a Halloween store. But they made it work. The humor actually worked for the film. Because they didn't, like, it felt like it was more natural. This just felt like they were, you know, everybody was just like trying to come up with it on the spot or something, and just, I don't know, like, the humor, like I said, the humor felt like it should have been funny, but it wasn't. And that is one of the worst things, I think, is like, especially for like a comedy of any kind, like when if your jokes don't land. But it was just like, oh, well, this joke didn't land, so let's keep making similar jokes throughout this entire damn movie. It's like maybe one of the jokes would be funny.
Yeah, it was kind of a mess. I mean, I don't know, Ian. I don't know. This marathon this month. It's been difficult, and with everything else going on, with life currently, and just like I had to sit down and watch this from beginning to end. It's just like my life choices are not the best, but I'm not saying like again. I'm glad people voted, but oh boy, it's definitely one to go out on. Ugh.
I wonder if this is even worse than that Krampus marathon that we did. I mean, that was pretty up there.
But again, those films had things we could discuss, each one, because they're just like, this kind of reminded me of Krampus Unleashed almost, the way it was just set up and the way it looked and everything. But this one's definitely cheaper than that.
Oh yeah.
I can't really. I don't know how I can recommend this to anybody. Unless you're, because like again, I love indie stuff and I love talking about it. But this is one of those where I was like, I can't really suggest it, even if you're like wanting something, like last week's, or one of the films we reviewed. Like I can't. It's not entertaining. I mean, it tries to be, but it just kind of fails. There's not that much gore or anything like that. It's like, again, I don't care about how cheap a film looks, but it's definitely the main thing that really stands out. But again, I'm not holding that against it. But it's just like there's too much that he's trying to accomplish that he doesn't have the money or the means to do it. So he's doing it, again, this is definitely like a backyard effort. Because it's literally in somebody's backyard where they're filming most of this. Again, not that that's a problem, but there's just, like I said, too much happening at once with like plots that go nowhere and meander around, and there's not really much to do pumpkin creature-wise. Like they're there, and then they create more pumpkin zombies, and then it's there, as a plot device. And then, like, again, just like the most obscure randomness happening on screen, just like, why is this a thing? I mean, it's like I said, like Fisted, like it was sort of like a controlled chaos in a sense with like things happening. Like, why is this happening? Why is that happening? Like, it doesn't matter. It was just sort of like, because it was intentionally controlled chaos. And again, same thing with like Killer Rack and there's another one that I had at the top of my head, but I forgot because my brain's hurting. Where it's just like it was like a controlled thing, and like this is just like, it's just like, as you said, it's just too damn goofy for its own good, and it's just like you're already like, finish your food or else you can't have dessert. I really don't. There's too much food on the plate. I can't eat dessert. Eat your fucking dessert or else you're not going to bed. Like, please, I want to go to bed. Like, no, you're going to eat your dessert. Like, oh, God, I can't. I'm dying. And it's just like, there's just like force-feeding you all this stuff. Like, you got to eat this now and you got to eat that. It's like this fucking endless supply. And like, you're just sitting there and you have an upset stomach and your head's spinning from tiredness. And it's just like, no, you're going to keep on eating and like it. It's like, oh my God, please end. I don't want to eat no more. And just like he keeps force feeding you, and it just like keeps going and going and going. It's just like, oh my God, I'm gonna throw up. And it was that. It was just like, oh my God, what else now? I'm like, it's just like, now this is happening. Now that's happening. Now I don't know why that's happening. Now he's fighting this. Now the thing's fucking 10 stories tall. Now it's this. And like somehow he's holding the shovel and not getting stomped on, and then there's the sheriff like, I've been attacked, and like you weren't assaulted. He literally spit something at you, and like he threw a water balloon at me. Like, am I blind? Like, did you not just see that come out of his mouth? And like, it's just, I don't know. It just wasn't really all that fun for what it could have been.
Not at all. Like, it really just, I don't know, just something missing.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of things. And a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I'm just.
Ian, I think it's best if we just smash this one and stomp on it and put it behind us, because this is the end of the Halloween Grab Bag Marathon. I think we need a couple weeks off, but I don't know. We might be back next week, but we need to rest, because this has been 4 difficult weeks with each film, and each in their own terms. Each one had their own terms of service, and we agreed on it, and that's what you get when you agree and sign on that dotted line and check the boxes. Like, well, you signed up for it. Like, yeah, I know, but my God, my life's not for the better. These past 4 weeks, but we gotta take a break, because I need to rest. We'll take maybe 1 week off, and then we'll get back into something else before we get back into it. We might do something to take our mind off of it, but who knows? We'll discuss that off air. But yeah, that is the Halloween Grab Bag Marathon for this year. It has been grueling and strenuous, and I think my brain hurt a few times, and it's definitely trying to
too
forget
many
most
tricks,
of them.
not enough treat.
Yeah, I think I'm bruised and battered, and we stuck our hand in the mousetrap, and we chewed through many apples with a razor in it. So we're missing a few teeth, and we gotta go get that fixed. Get our wounds all healed up before we come back. But Ian, it's been fun, even though we've been through hell. It's always entertaining to do this with you. So hopefully our pain is your pleasure, and we will see you for whatever our next show might be on Horror Not Oasis. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Good night.